For number 1, let's start with a common denominator. And I notice that 5 divides into 10 and 2 divides into 10. When the small denominators divide evenly into the big denominator is your best common denominator. Now for the numerators. What do you multiply times 5 to get 10? Is 2. What do you multiply times a number to get itself? Is 1. And what do you multiply times 2 to get 10? Is 5. Now keep the common denominator and add up the numerators. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 5 is 12. That's a great answer. Now I notice that that reduces. So I'll divide by 2 and divide by 2. I like 6/5 as a best answer. For number 2, let's think of this 7 as a fraction. Make it 7 over 1. Then we need a common denominator. Since 1 divides evenly into 4, 4 makes a good common denominator. Now the numerators. What do you multiply times 1 to get 4? Is 4. And what do you multiply times a number to get itself? That's 1. We'll keep that common denominator, and 28 minus 3 is 25. When we work with mixed numbers, step number 1 is to change them into improper fractions. 2 times 9 plus 2 is 20. Keep that denominator. 3 times 4 plus 3, that's 15. Again, keep the denominator. Now look to reduce. 20 and 4 are both divisible by 4. 9 and 15 are both divisible by 3. Now multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. And as a final step, since we started with mixed numbers, we'll end with mixed numbers. How many times does 3 go into 25? It goes in 8 times with 1 left over. 8 1/3, best answer for number 3. For number 4, again, let's start with improper fractions. 1 times 9 plus 7, that's 16. 3 times 3 plus 2, that's 11. Now we change division to multiplication by taking the reciprocal of the second fraction. Look to reduce. These are both divisible by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. Now multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms, and that's a great answer. When solving equations with fractions, our first step is to multiply both sides of the equation so that we eliminate the fractions. Multiply by the common denominator. Common denominator for 4 and 5 is 20. We'll multiply both sides by 20. Here's what happens. When I multiply here, how many times does 4 go into 20? 5. 5 times 3 is 15. When I multiply here, it's just 20 times x. On this side of the equal sign, how many times does 5 go into 20? It's 4. And 4 times 1 is 4. Now solve for x. We'll get rid of a positive 15 with a negative 15. Combine 4 and negative 15 is negative 11. Now when I divide by 20, I end up with negative 11/20. Beautiful. Let's do the same thing on number 6. We'll multiply both sides by a common denominator of all fractions. Common denominator for 4, 12, and 6, those all divide into 12. Now, how many times does 4 go into 12? 3. 3 times x, looks like that. How many times does 12 go into 12? Is 1. 1 times 5 goes there. 6 goes into 12 twice. 2 times 1 is 2. Now solve. And when I divide by 3, my final answer is 7/3. Beautiful.